Getting live on YouTube. I have some topics for you guys. All right, let's wait for us to go live. So I am live. I am live on YouTube, so feel free to join me there or watch the replay. We will definitely be sharing this. I am speaking to my Facebook friends and Instagram that you can join me on YouTube, but we are going to drop off here on the Facebook so I can actually focus on the YouTube topics, the feds, and self-employed. So stay tuned as we're going to share more, but join me on the YouTube. Now, hello YouTube, how are you? Okay, awesome. So, feds met. Go ahead and okay. I think I'm all set now. Coffee Talk with Kristel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It says hot. Oh, yeah, it says in English too, but in French, chaud, which is where I'm still in the island. All right, let's get started. So this week, the Federal Reserve had held rates steady. No hike, no cut, a pause. So before I actually read your statement, I want to give you a quick word of caution before we dive in. The federal fund rate is not the same thing as the mortgage rates. Mortgage rates move based on inflation, on bond market, investor expectations, not just a Fed decision. So when the Fed pause, that doesn't automatically mean the rates are going to improve or get worse. With that context, let's actually look at what they actually said. So give me 1 second, because I do want to share with you that article, as I'm going to read just a section because we can all look this up. Share right screen. And this is as of yesterday, 2 p.m. So I'm trusting you can read this and see it. Try to see, make it a little bit bigger. Okay. So this is from the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. Available indicators suggest that economic activity has been expanding at a solid pace. Job gains have remained low, and the unemployment rate has shown some signs of stabilization. Inflation remains somewhat elevated. The committee seeks to achieve maximum employment and inflation at the rate of 2% over the longer run. Uncertainty about the economic outlook remains elevated. The committee is attentive to the risk of both sides of its dual mandate. In support of its goals, the committee decided to maintain the target range of the federal fund rates at 3.5 to 3.75%. In considering the extent and timing of additional adjustments to the target range for the federal funds rates, the committee will carefully assess incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risk. You can read the rest. However, I definitely want to go ahead and what does that mean for you, right? So what they actually told us, the economy is still expanding, jobs are stable, they're not overheating, inflation is still higher than what they want, and uncertainty is still in the room. But what it did not say, that the rates are coming down fast, that the housing suddenly becomes easier, or that waiting guarantees a better deal. So this is a holding pattern. So if this is a holding pattern from the Fed, the real question becomes less about the Fed and more about how you are choosing to respond to it. Can I ask you something? How are you currently deciding when to act on a mortgage or equity move? Are you mostly waiting for the headlines or are you looking at your own numbers? It's simple to look at your own numbers. Reach out to me, book a call. Let's in 5 minutes find out what you can do with the equity. Let's have a conversation about your goals, not what the Fed's goals are, but your goals. See how we can actually implement that for you. My second question is, when you hear that rates are on pause, what do you find yourself thinking or feeling most? Do you feel relief? Hey, they're on pause. I have some time. You feel hesitation. It's like, ooh, does this mean that it can get better or get worse? Or you're just more uncertain of what to do? What do you feel that uncertainty is costing you right now, if anything? So, what is it actually costing you? And you get to answer that question for yourself. Is it delay in achieving your goal? Is it, wait, outside circumstances are stopping me from moving forward towards my goal? So, my question number three, if nothing changes for the next 6 or 12 months and rates simply move sideways, how does that affect what you were hoping to do with your home, your equity, or your investments? Another question I have for you. Again, I want you to take a moment, pause. Last week we talked about pause, reflect before taking a quick action. What would it look like for you to make a decision based on what you can control, rather than waiting for the Fed to give a signal, hey, go ahead, buy, hey, freeze? So the decision lies in your hand. And this is actually why I do those Thursday coffee talks. It's not to predict rates. Sometimes people say Kristel, they call me Kristel. I'm like, I'm not a crystal ball. I can't tell you what the rates are going to do. It's not to react to the headlines, but to help people understand where they actually stand and what options truly fit their situation. So if this conversation is hitting something for you, because you're taking a moment to answer some of my questions to help you reflect, I invite you to stay connected here on my YouTube, and also share with friends and family, because your ways of feeling may be different from somebody else, but the aim game is still, what is it going to help you do and move forward? Don't want you to remain stagnant. If you remain at the place that you are, it's from a clear decision and choice, not from fear, panic, and pause, from that stagnation versus I'm pausing because this is the best place for me to be, and I respect that. So, if you're ready now to talk about your numbers, not about just the feds, but your numbers, that's when the real conversation starts. That's where you and I will actually do a HELOC conversation, plugging the numbers. Let's see online what the value of your home could look like, your credit score on a soft pull, and the end result in 5 minutes. This is what we can do or what we can work towards. If you're looking to buy or invest into more real estate, this is where we actually have a deeper conversation. Where do you stand? What do you need to work on? Just this morning, as I was getting ready for this meeting, I had a call from one of my favorite partner who says, hey, Kristel, I have an update about this client. She's not ready right now, but we're getting her ready. Her daughter's going to go back, is continue her certification so she can qualify and be on the loan with her. So pausing and stopping before you make a decision so you can actually go into the path that you need, that is totally okay. It's when you freeze and say, I just don't want to know. That's where I want you to go ahead and take a moment to reflect. Where do you freeze out of fear, not out of education? Or actually, with education, you make a informed decision. So the Fed pause, but life doesn't. Unless you take conscious pause, right? A breath, a moment, and connecting with someone as conscious as myself into how I can help you in your decision. So if you enjoy this information, put a like to help me reach more people about the topics that are important when they are in the realm of buying or financing a home. So the topic number two I actually want to share with you today is, if you are self-employed, this is for you. So if you're self-employed, a business owner, a consultant, a 1099 earner, or someone with a side job that's on top of their W-2, this part is actually for you. Or even if you're thinking about going in business for yourself and quitting your W-2 and going into being self-employed, I'm actually going to insert some information on that. So especially if you've been told that you make good money, but it doesn't work on paper, This isn't about motivation. I'm not going to go into motivation talk. This is about how lending actually can elevate you from your fear of like, oh, I'm self-employed, I can't do this. Oh, I've been told no. So here's where what I see over and over with self-employed buyers when they try to purchase a home or refinance a property. Income looks strong in real life, but reduced on their tax returns because the CPA are doing an amazing job. They're putting all the deductions that are possible so it looks amazing and not have to pay the IRS as much. But when it's time for me to review, might be a different story. There's also the fact that sometimes there are some jobs that are seasonal or fluctuating income year to year. So multiple income streams that also don't fit the one box to be able to qualify. You're feeling maybe judged or misunderstood by lenders. And after a while, sometimes people just go ahead and stop asking questions like, oh, I just give up. It is so difficult for a self-employed person. I'm just going to do what I do and just keep on renting. So you may assume buying is impossible right now for you. So I'm going to go over you as a self-employed, but then the programs that are available. Number one, perfect paper path. So let's start with the conventional loans because for self-employed buyers, this is still the best option. The more documentation you provide, of course, the better your terms. So conventional loans are designed for borrowers, buyers like yourself, whose income is very clear and very consistent on paper. Somehow, what they are reporting, they're able to go ahead and qualify. Okay. So when we're looking at our 2 years tax returns and a year-to-date profit and loss, sometimes a balance sheet. Sometimes, though, if you have a high credit score and putting at least 10% down, we can sometimes actually have a streamlined process with 1 year of tax returns. Okay, but we do look at stability over the year. So let's say in 2024, your net income was $100,000, but in 2025, you made 80,000. Well, income is declining, even if you may have a good reason, and I'm not discounting that as a possibility of doing it. But when income is declining more than 20%, as we are moving towards the review of previous year, and then 2024, I'm sorry, let me just be clearer. 2024, 2025, and it's declined 20%, then that's where more questions are being asked. What happened? Or a high possibility that we may not be able to do it in this structure with a conventional. Okay, so declining income is definitely an impact because that means to an underwriter, hey, what if that income actually goes down again in 2026? So that's why we look at stability. But why it actually does work well, is best long-term rates, lower cost overall, and I would say it's really the top, right? The long-term rates and the overall cost when you are conventional financing. But why it's actually frustrating. Deductions are reducing the qualifying income. Growth years can actually hurt you. And when I say that is because when you actually have a growth hurt, you may be doing the more deductions that may look like, hey, I have to reduce my actual net. And then also because it's an average of 2 years, you may have had a terrible year and now the next year is having to compensate for the previous year. So that is where it becomes more complicated for self-employed. So this is where a lot of self-employed buyers are feeling they're being punished because they're doing their taxes in a smart way. And we're not going touching even about the new tax bills that they're working on having and how that's going to impact. We're talking about even the old ways. So stay tuned on that. Okay, so that's unconventional, still conventional. In general, it is labeled as a better program in the sense of your terms. But also, when you are making an offer, the realtor on the other side, the listing agent, was like, "Hey, they have a conventional. That means that they are stronger buyers because usually you need to have 5% down. If you're first time buyer, you can do 3% down, but usually it's 5% down or more on a conventional." The other program, the government loan. And I'm actually including VA in here, even though very often VA, that means that you have an income that is from veteran income, but you may also be self-employed. So there might be some eligible veterans who are doing VA loans and they have no down payment, but they still need to have 2 years of tax returns if they are self-employed on top of the veteran income that they're receiving. So it is a powerful structure, but I just still wanted to mention it. Now, FHA. These programs exist for to help buyers who have strong earners and they don't necessarily fit the conventional mold because maybe the credit score. Mostly if you're going to do a 5% down and you have mortgage insurance, FHA allows us very often to go for most lenders 580 credit score. And even though conventional made some recent changes, mortgage insurance is going to be really expensive, right? So we end up going more into FHA because it helps with flexibility with the credit guidelines. Lower down payment options. Even if you're not a first-time buyer, if you do not currently have an FHA loan, at least within 100 miles and some other criterias, you can go with a 3.5% down. Now, there are some loan limits to keep in mind for FHA, and it works well when income is stable, but it's not necessarily perfectly documented because it looks differently at income than they would on a conventional. The calculation is slightly different. And then there are some business expenses that we can include and not include, things of that nature. So FHA is more flexible when it comes to credit, very similar when it comes to income, but there are some nuances. Of course, we'll go over that on one by one case. Now, the trade-off is that the mortgage insurance on FHA is going to be for the life of the loan versus on a conventional. If you get to a 20%, 22% of equity, it automatically falls off the mortgage insurance. So it's not always ideal for higher income self-employed buyers, mostly if you're buying a property that is over the income limit based on your county and based on your area. Okay. So again, as I'm doing conventional FHA and VA, the challenge isn't just the program, it's knowing where it fits your situation. This is why you do the one-on-one call. But then there are new, not necessarily new, but it's more common now for people to go into what we call non-QM, which is alternative documentation, where many self-employed buyers actually land. So this is where you can finally breathe again. It's like, wait, I have some options. Doesn't mean you can do 100% of the move right now because you may have to work some goals, but it's not waiting to do editing of your taxes. When I did editing, I'm looking for the correct, accurate word. Not exemption. Oh my gosh, I can't think of it, but amendments. Thank you. Amendments. Thank you. The words come back. You can amend your taxes and say, well, I'm going to go ahead and do an amendment to my taxes, report more income, report all of it, less deductions. You end up paying the IRS more anyways. So use that money to, instead of doing amendments, use that money to do a higher down payment for your alternative documentation loan instead of ending up with payment to the IRS. I'm not saying good or bad of an IRS. I'm just talking about practicality and the lending side. So again, this is where many self-employed buyers finally breathe again. So it doesn't just mean it's a bit riskier for us lenders because you're not looking at your taxes. We're looking at your bank statements. We're looking at your profit and loss, right? It actually means different documentation, which also means alternative, you're going to have higher cost or higher interest rate. And this is where you get to offset, compare and see which one offsets your good and the bad, and speak with your accountant, with your financial advisor, with the lender. So this is a team effort. This isn't just, hey, one path. This is a team effort in knowing what's best for you. So business owners, side hustlers, investors, this looks like bank statement loans. Could be the most recent 12 months bank statements, the cash flow of your bank statement. We take a business cost, which can very often be about 30%. Some lenders can do less. It can be also based on what your accountant states is your business cost or expense, and we take that as a factor. So it's not just 100% of your deposit. Some Very few. Some investors actually do allow that, and it could be on a personal account, it doesn't have to be just on a business account. But instead of tax returns, so no tax returns, only bank statements. Then we also have income based on the cash flow, not the taxes. So again, that's very similar to the bank statement. Then you have your DSCR loan. This is for your rental properties where we're not looking at your income, we're looking at the business income. Give me 1 quick second. Okay. And then the profit and loss based qualification. Also your 1099 qualification. So you take your 1099, your most recent bank statement, and see what the if the income really is similar to what's being deposited. And there's special calculations. So there are definitely options. So this is especially powerful program that we have. It is a non-traditional type of financing, very often called trio, which is a lease purchase type. And this is especially powerful for someone who may have a W-2 income, just doing an Uber, side hustle, anything that's on the side and doesn't have a 2-year history. We can actually use that income because there are some very creative ways. You can be having consulting income. You can have contract job that just started about 3 months ago. We're not going to use that as just your qualification. It's going to be in addition to your W-2, and there's special calculations to be done on those. And I recently, actually, as of yesterday, and this is what prompted me to do this live on this topic, is a program that is a low down payment with a 640 credit score, 3.5% down, and its income is based on profit and loss. So I am still digging deeper just to be sure that this isn't just a temporary program. So by the time you come to me, it's like, oops, sorry, that was really a test of the system. So this is for the right buyer, which changes that conversation entirely. Okay, we'll look at your numbers, we'll see what we can do and how to best serve you. So give me 1 quick second to check. Little technical beep, beep. Okay, topic number 3. Before I go to topic number 3, any questions you have, definitely come and join me on the YouTube and put your questions and comments, but also book a call with me. So book a call with me to see your situation, talk about your situation. We don't necessarily have to pull credit right away. We can start with the income, see what potential options we may have based on your scenario. Do not feel intimidated. Feel like, hey, there's a partner on my side looking to help me on this path of homeownership. So before I wrap up and actually go into my mystical moment with Kristel, I want to leave you with an important distinction. And I have worked with retail lenders, some banks actually also. I'm not going to name them, but some banks and some that were actually just banks. So they have checking and savings institution with a mortgage division, and then there are lenders who that all they do is a mortgage. I was gonna say was because that's what I used to do. Just go ahead and do residential financing. But now that I have moved with Nexa, which is Nexa Lending, I do have a lot more options. So with a one-stop shop, you know how I used to actually even say that because that was a one-stop shop based on what's under my umbrella. But this is a one-stop shop, not only because I speak Spanish and French and I can help multiple markets, but also because we have an array of investors that we can work with. So if it doesn't work with one program, I can keep digging. Doesn't mean I have an answer for each and every one of you. Some of you may actually need to work towards, like if you have bad credits and no income and no deposits, like, and you just say, well, I make the money is under my mattress and I have a 600 credit score. I'm going to have to do some work. I'm not saying it's not possible. We may have to do some work, but we will, based on your scenario or your lifestyle, we can start with education of the steps to take by depositing the money maybe into a business account, having a history of the deposits coming in versus just a cash income, cashing your checks. So getting you ready for home ownership, and then based on your business ways and with maybe your help with your accountant, we can still get you towards the path of home ownership. So that allows me to looking at multiple lenders and investors. Their interpretation of income is can be different. So there are real options, not just assuming, well, you're self-employed, you don't report or you do this. It's actually, let's look at how business works for you. So my role isn't to push a product or predict what the interest rates are. It's actually to help you understand where you stand, what's possible, and what makes sense for you. Um, and again, even if that may mean waiting a little bit so you can get all the steps necessary to qualify. So if this conversation brought you some clarity, I would love for you to stay connected with me. Go ahead and do a like. Anytime I have a live on a Thursday, feel free to join me. We'd love to get your energy present here while I'm doing those contents, because my goal is education and empowering you to make decisions, not to freeze because the market did this or market did that. Now make educated decision and work with what you can control. That's really my goal. Helping you evolve in the path. Sometimes I have clients who've had who have student loans, and I ask them, it's like, well, can you do a job or have an income that is complementary to what you studied, but also to increase your income so you have a higher buying power? Let's look at your budget and what is it that maybe you are spending too much money on, like I could be doing, is coffees, and $6-7 multiplied by 30 is like, wait, I could have been saving that. This is a homemade coffee, but I do enjoy my coffees outside. But I'm just using it as an example where we sometimes have to tighten the belt and really make adjustments if that is your goal. Now, I'm going to go a little bit sideways of what most people would say. Homeownership is for everybody. Yes, it's for everyone who has a desire to be a homeowner. Some people actually don't have the desire. They don't want the maintenance. They prefer to call a landlord. Now, are you losing money? Yeah, because you're not earning equity. You're not reducing the principal balance of what your monthly debt is. When you have a rent, you're just constantly going to be paying rent. But some people are renters. This is definitely not the best platform for you because it doesn't really feed information into what your goal is. But I also want to acknowledge those, not for you if you're my listener, but for your family members or friends who are saying, oh, I just want to rent. Respect other people's goals, because they may just want to explore the world differently and not have that expense of a mortgage. But for you who are self-employed, who have a job, and you must a job, a W-2 income, and this is your goal, then this is where you stay in. But also let's be respectful to those who say, I have clients who tell me, I don't want to invest into a property. I like my lifestyle. I love living in Bucket, even though I'm paying a lot of money for my condo or my apartment. But then I do have some who say, you know what, I may be open to investing into other states where it's less expensive because I'm keeping my lifestyle, and I am actually open to investing into other states and have cash income producing properties, which is actually very much like me. Because I travel, I do not have as of right now, some changes might be coming 2026. I do not currently have a permanent, um, I do have a property that I have my residence, but I travel. You've seen that I've gone to Mount Shasta, Sedona, New Hampshire, like all those places, they are temporary housing. But I do have my income producing property in Atlanta that's giving me income to actually pay for some of the housing that I take on based on where I go. Sarasota was the most recent one. Okay. So let's be respectful of others and their goals. And let me help you be empowered into your decision and investing in real estate in a way that fits you. Now, I will put a parenthesis that if you are currently renting and you're looking to buy your first investment property, there are lenders. I do have options, but they're more limited. Sometimes they'll tell you buy your first home, but you're not required. There are programs for first-time investors who are currently renters. So this is why I say, with me working at a company, or being tied to a company like Next Lending, I have options for you. I can look into based on your scenario and get you ready to achieve your goal. So I'm trusting this information was helpful and definitely would love for you to share this information, book a call with me. And this is a section where I'm going to close out this part and go into the mystical Kristel, right? Sacred Home with Kristel, the alchemist and embodiment of everything is energy. It's just true. So if this is not for you, click off. If it is, maybe out of curiosity, stay on. As we talk about grounding, we talk about letting go of my previous conversation. Or even today, I would say, as I take a deep breath to center into this section of it, divine intelligence, God, a higher self, the word, the name, the calling that is more aligned for you. And it could just be my own wisdom from the depth of my own wisdom. Let me keep in mind only what is serving me from this conversation about self-employed, the Fed rate, and allow me to go deeper. I've received a lot of information. May the information that is most useful to me be at the forefront of my understanding and maybe even go deeper. So grounding is really centering yourself in your heart and connecting to Mother Earth, connecting to the gravity that we have. And I'll admit, it is easier for me to connect with the higher realm, meaning that connection with the heart, the visualization, the connection to what we call God, the higher self, the angels. I am into all of those. If you're not, it's totally okay. But I believe all was created as unity, and we get to discern what is for my highest and greatest and for my light, for my love, because I'm about love and defining what love for myself is and what it feels like, what it is in action. And this is me pouring love to you to be seen, not me being seen, but for you to be seen based on how you want to be seen. Seen in a sense of appreciated, loved, heard, expended. So I connected with the higher realm, infinite intelligence, but it also is about connecting to the earth because we're not just dreaming or the alternative state. It's about connecting to the earth for this plane, this moment. And that can sometimes, I'm speaking for myself, feel a bit uncomfortable because very often I feel the energy of others and of the planet. And that's why I'm practicing more and more the grounding to the divine light of the earth, not all of its emotions, because all of the emotions that we all have that we are connecting to her gravity, she is feeling it. And I am connecting and asking to connect more to that divine, pure energy of the earth. So is there a specific topic besides how I just explained, connecting to the earth and allowing that energy to come back and be centered into my heart so I can be my highest and greatest in how I show up in the world? Last week we spoke about pausing and inviting the highest and greatest light to be present And it was mostly in topics of chaos and frustrations, like the lower energy, emotions. When I say lower, the ones that are creating more of a discord within us. How do I come to harmony? Invite the divine light. Pause and allow that. And one of the recent teachings that I've received is pause, and no matter what it is, even the painful one, what a gift. And even when you say what a gift, it's like, wait, what? What a gift? Yeah. But if you were to look at the situation as a gift because it's a mirror of something that's internally uncomfortable, that needs love and healing, because really we are here, one thing, love. I know we want to make money, we want to travel, we want to do all those things, but it's the love and the desire for how it makes us feel. Huh. The topic that's coming up is love, the evolution of love. And I'm going to speak from how I've evolved on the feeling of love. Love started for me more of a safety of having roof, food, all the basic needs in abundance, in excess. And the nurturing part of love, not so much. And this is not a blame. This is a recognition. Um, and I would say that a lot of people, even reflecting and speaking with those in my generation, the 1975s, our parents didn't necessarily know the whole nurturing part. Some few did, and I met somebody who did. And I know from both of my sides of my family, they each have 10 kids, 9 to 10 kids, 9 kids, both. Uh, my parents on my mother's side. So that nurturing of the love and the hugs and all that, they didn't really grow up with that. So they didn't really know, unless it was innate in them, how to actually display that. So I definitely would say the love that I first received was based on a love based on what they knew, which is to make sure taken care of, provided for. Then, as I kept on evolving, met my first partner, boyfriend. My first boyfriend was probably, I was 18 years old, actually, 18 in the US. And he was a lot more mature than I was. Well, no, older, 10 years older, twice, 10 years older. And those loves were also with a reflection about safety and not safety. And he wasn't so financially safe. So it was a lot of up and down. But it felt like, hey, takes care of things. So as a woman also, we experience love a certain way, and a man experience love a little bit differently as well. I have no idea where this is going to take me. And it's actually making me uncomfortable because I'm sharing much deeper about my journey of love. Then marriage, and now beloved child, who's in the other side. That was an experience of love. Loving someone or a child that's not of your flesh, who still has a mother living in her every day. How do I love a child who doesn't want to be around me? A spouse where it felt like, wait, everything changed and I felt invisible. So my heart has been through a lot. And I think this is a little bit follow-up of my last 9-year reflection of my journey and my evolution of how I experience love. Conditional, based on certain aspects of what's expected in a partnership, what's expected in a marriage, what's expected as a mother role, but yet it's not your child. Remember, being raised Catholic, hearing unconditional love, but wait, everything is conditional, is duality. And parents even programming their kids by saying, I love you, but when you do this, that's a condition. So I invite you just a little parenthesis here. Whenever you tell somebody I love you, you want to go ahead and say, and there's something that's a little bit uncomfortable. I love you. And, this part makes me uncomfortable because it's a way of feeling, but it doesn't stop the love. I say that to my 5-year-old niece. Oh my gosh, I love you. And when you do this, we got to talk, right? But it doesn't remove the love because she actually said to me one time, I know, but you don't love me if I do this. I'm like, no, 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 I'll always love you. So let's be cognizant of the words that we use because it creates an trauma, fear, conditions. So I love you, and so I wasn't so much of a religious person, but in my transition of chaos, disharmony in my marriage, by the way, the man I was married to is an amazing person. It was just a very big mirror of what life wanted me to experience. And this is not about him. This isn't about quote unquote my marriage. It's just my experience, my journey that I'm sharing with you. As there's so much happening in this world that we really need to learn what love is and feels like. And what is for me is different from yours. It's just an inspiration to reflect on your own journey and take 2026 as a new year, a new possibility of viewing and experiencing love. So I learned a lot from that relationship and oh my gosh, the word shallow. What was I shallow about what my husband needed to be like? Um, Handsomeness was the first word. He had to be handsome. He had to be super attractive and all that stuff. And I did have, he needed to be Puerto Rican. Wow. I ended up with a Puerto Rican man. Twice, actually. Um, so all those are not necessarily love. There are labels. There are things that family said what it's supposed to be like in order to keep, a certain race, a certain way, all of those things. Am I grateful that I experienced them? Well, I experienced them. So I'm grateful for the awareness of what it did and we created. But then once that marriage terminated, and I ask divinity, ask God, teach me love without all those conditions and label of what it's supposed to be. I had a very similar journey with my job also, and I'm still going through a journey with my career and being as a lender, the sales role. So love is not about just, the love relationship with the person. It's also with another part and aspect of life, career, a place, and all those, even those have evolved for me. So love isn't just the relationship with a partner. Speaking of love, on that topic because it's the one we most often think of. But maybe on the other series, I will go ahead and talk about love with other aspect, perspective, the shift, the evolution. And I am about evolution and revolution of myself. So another journey for all. So once I had that break of going on a journey by myself with others, but just strangers, South America for 3 months. I called it my journey with myself, my honeymoon with myself, to rediscover what I enjoyed. And I love to explore. I love to travel. I love to meet unexpected places and people and discover. That is part of me. And it is not necessarily to escape, because I do stay in situations longer than it actually need to be. It is more, okay, this is time. So now I get to travel. I get to see and open my field to something new to heal me from the ground up. Okay. That was the case even in my second most important relationship when it comes to love, that partnership. And in that journey of coming back to the States from South America, I knew, and I had already declared that without knowing what it was. I knew I was going to move to Fort Lauderdale. I said Fort Lauderdale felt home. Oh my gosh, it felt home. I was in love with living on the beach, Fort Lauderdale, which I did for 3 years. And it was the ease, the village, the aspect. So my love for an environment, specifically what it feels like, what it looks like, I used to write it down over and over. Ease to walk to restaurants, to grocery stores without the big city. And I experienced that. So my invitation is once you know what really fuels you and it feels like pure alignment, keep repeating that over. So that's one of the ways to actually reprogram yourself. Hypnosis is one way. Rewriting over and over is another way. And the places that I've lived, I've actually felt like that because I've been drawn to it or been the energy has been magnetizing to me, and I easily find a new spot that gives me all those I actually enjoy. So in the reprogramming of myself, what love is, I actually read a book and I was repeating what love, and love was unconditional, love that is of a high realm. I actually need to look up that book, and Irene, go ahead and put a note that we'll share what that book is. And I was repeating it for 7 minutes. I had a timer and just reading that to reinforce and discover, because it wasn't through my environment that I saw what love felt in partnership. It was through shifting and opening my mind and my energy to receive that love. I used to walk on the boardwalk in Fort Lauderdale and imagine, because I wanted a man who felt so proud of having me by his side and holding my hands, not just when things were good. And I met this amazing man who did that. That journey was a short season, was a season, actually it was 4 years, but it was a season. And his mother was a nurturing person. So I got to experience that as well. So in the being open and not, this is how everybody is, this is how everything is, this is how love is. No, I was like, God, I know there is a greater way to love. I know there is a better way to experience love, not just from the movies, but for me to experience it. And I've gone through that journey. And then that one felt where it was feeling more of the word feeding. It fed that part as a younger Kristel that did not get to experience it. Again, no blame, no shame, none of that. It's just a reflection and realization and growth. Got to be honest with self and being grateful for the experience, even that part. What a gift. Because it gave me the opportunity to experience the nurturing of at that time, mother-in-law that would give from as if I was her own, and from a different place than what I experienced at home. And I'm grateful for it because then I show up for my niece differently. I show up even my healing time with now beloved Maya, because we had that opportunity of coming together and talking the painful points, the painful moments. And after even her passing, it's like, I am so grateful I had an opportunity to share that with her. I recently saw an email where she said, Kristel, I forgive you. I know you did your best. It was painful. It was hard. Why would you do this to me? But now I know, I understand. So we still always have that opportunity if we take it on, not just like, well, it's going to open some wounds. Well, it's going to do that. Yeah, it might. But it's actually to not just put a band-aid on it and hope that the scar would just be totally heal at the root. We want to heal the root, even if there's a scar at the surface we see, but it's no longer activating us in a way that is creating the anger again, the resentment, right? It's moving through it to at the end say, I love you. No, we're not perfect. We have those moments, but there's such a love. I know your intention. I remember Maya saying, Kristel, I know your heart. I know your intention. So as things keep on evolving, my family just recently asked me, they thought that because of my travels that I just wanted to live the rest of my life by myself, single. No. By the way, this is not an invitation to bring anybody forth for me. But while I was in Sarasota, it was an amazing experience that I knew this felt more in alignment. And there was a flowing conversation with a gentleman who spoke and felt an attraction because of the exchange of conversation. So I was like, wow, this is happening. that, remember I talked about a couple weeks ago, the onion? It's not just peeling it off and just discarding it and just letting it be in other places. It's like opening and seeing the beauty of the flower of who I've become in the experience of love, in the intention and the desire to be true to what love feels like. And it's not just saying, you know how we easily sign up, hey, love you. I love you. I experience love for you. Or I choose to love you. I don't know why I love you, but I choose to love you. And there's love for my former partners because of all that I experienced, and I'm grateful for them. And there's deep gratitude and appreciation for that journey. And I will close with this. More importantly than ever, that's a very much cliche. And that being said, with everything that is happening in the world, and there's always stuff always happening in the world, we're just more aware of it because of platforms like YouTube, platforms like social media, TikToks and everything. And some of it's like AI versus the truth of somebody sharing their experience. By the way, this is truly me here. Um, I do take pause a little bit harder, but I do take pause and it's a practice for the craziness that I see. What a gift. Because it's an opportunity for me to pray and send love, an opportunity for me to ask divinity to continue to elevate the planet, to continue to elevate us towards one thing, love. Grief is not something that I've really had to experience so much in my life, except for relationships that terminated, but they were still alive. My grandmother passed away, some grandparents, others passed away. Maya. In the end, it's the relationship, it's the way of being, not just all the things we did, but the being. How are you? How are you? How are we? How am I being? Let's come from a place of love. Let's come from a place of desire to see others, even the ones who hurt us. Actually, most importantly, the ones who hurt us. It may sound crazy, but you want them to elevate to love because that creates more harmony. If you desire for them to rot in hell and all those things, that means we're keeping that same energy, that same field of seeing others hurting. If we take the stance that all of them came, meaning all of the actors in our life, they came to teach us, to show us, to be a mirror of something that's within us. Thank you. You be my deepest teacher. And this is not just from other talks. This is from my own experience. In the last year, I have spent more time in Guadeloupe for reasons that are very important to me in this season. But yet they have been so triggering, so painful. And I'm seeing the light of that tunnel because in being still, steady, but also taking breaks to re-energize myself in the field of gotta heal myself from a place of love, grace, patience. I am seeing a new unfolding and I'm excited for it. So there's really just one thing: giving love, receiving love. And as I'm about to step into my next appointment, and I can see in my view that they're already here, the ones that we're going to be meeting, and we've been doing the journey of money, actual, a relationship with money, because money is energy. The first step is forgiveness. Forgiveness of the relationship and the exchange between self and money. By the way, if you speak another language and your native language is French, Spanish, or any language, I encourage you whenever you do some work towards healing that part and the emotion to go to your native language. It's a different impact. So I am actually I am working towards creating this program that is a cohort, this container, this sequence of healing. Let's use another word in healing. Reprogramming, catalyst in how we experience money. So I'm going through this journey with some trusted friends. And once I have this in a way that I can present it to you, I will come and share. But just so you know, it's about forgiveness. It's about, I use different techniques that many of you are aware of. Oponopono. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I thank you. Money. And then we will also do some emotion work, some other work to release and really go to the core of what those could be. Because the first is really bringing it, being open to facing that, the heart, the whole energy around money and self in reflection to that. Then we're going to do the emotion part. And it could reveal to us, it could be from a parent, it could be from multi-generations in the past, and then fill us back up with a new identity, that identity of the one who is able to interact, have a relationship with money that feels whole. Not enemy, not at a distance, not uncomfortableness, but being in love with the relationship with money. Now, hear me well. This is not love of money and greed. This is the relationship of money where I receive with ease, I give with ease, because I can from that place give abundantly of my resources, of my time, with an exchange, because this is reciprocity of a relationship. And you get to define that. So that is what I'm working on. And being a catalyst, being an alchemist in this field of how the energy shows up for us, that is what I'm excited to come to you most likely. Oh my gosh, it's coming to my mind like for Valentine, but we'll hold our horses on that. So thank you so much for allowing me to speak from my heart, share that aspect as a lender, but then also the aspect as who I am as a divine being living this experience with all of you, because you all have a divine spark. And that is what we're here to expand, that divine spark, that container of love. Thank you.